Good evening. Being 7 p.m., I'll call to order the McHenry County Board regular meeting of May 16th, 2023, and Ms. Greeno will lead us in the pledge tonight.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And for our invocation this evening, we have Reverend Thomas Wendt from Unity Spiritual Center of Woodstock.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
What an honor it is to be here. Thank you for this privilege. We know when I look around this room, I know I see a diversity in many ways. I see diversity of thought, diversity of people. Yet we're all here together with one purpose, and that is for the betterment of this wonderful, dynamic county. And many of us will see in an invocation and hear in an invocation the name of God, whatever that means to you. Could be Great Spirit, higher power, Allah. So know that everyone here is respected and welcome and honored to bring your ideas of that great universal power. Today I use that power to focus on gratitude. So I invite you to be grateful for our past, for the past challenges that this board and those who have preceded it and the responsible citizens who have come to share with the board the problems and challenges that are now our successes. And let's give thanks also for the successes of tomorrow that will appear as the problems and challenges of today. And we invoke the power of that universal power by whatever name we refer to it, to guide us and lead us, not in competition, but in teamwork, companionship, and cooperation. We know that the future of this county is unlimited, thanks to those who represent its constituents and thanks to the citizens who are here to speak about it. We know that the problems that we face today must be the ones that need to be faced because we're here to do it. You're here to do it. And so we are grateful, in great gratitude for your commitment to working as a team to lead this, continue to lead this county to a dynamic future beyond our deepest imaginations and wonderings, and know that there is only good waiting for us as we work together to create the future of our dreams. We have declared it so, and so it is. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend. Clerk, could you call the roll, please?
Althoff. Here. Campbell. Here. Gadamoller. Here. Greeno. Here. Hendricks.
Here.
Kaminsky.
President accounted for.
Kearns.
Here.
Kunkel.
Here.
Meshes.
Here.
Ness.
Here.
Reinert.
Here.
Sager.
Here.
Shorten.
Here.
Scala.
Present.
Smith.
Here.
Van Hoff.
Present.
Von Bergen.
Here.
Wegner.
Here.
All are present.
Okay, having a quorum, we'll move on to item number 5. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda. Mr. Shorten, seconded by Ms. Meshes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. On to item number 6, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of previous meetings. Ms. Althoff, seconded by Mr. Scala. Any discussion or changes? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Good evening. My report tonight will be brief before we move ahead with tonight's agenda. I'd like to start off tonight by thanking all the county board members who stayed after last Thursday's Committee of the Whole meeting to join us for the annual Employee Appreciation Luncheon. The weather was beautiful, and the cookout was a great way to wrap up Public Service Recognition Week and show our county employees how much we value them and appreciate the hard work that they do. Yesterday afternoon, I had the privilege of touring the new McHenry County Regional Training Center in Cary with County Administrator Pete Austin and Deputy County Administrator Scott Hartman. Sheriff Rob Tatelman and the Sheriff's Office command staff showed us around, and they're excited to get the center up and running and the training county law enforcement. While I've been very proud of what McHenry County and other local governments have accomplished together through shared services and collaboration, the Regional Training Center and the law enforcement shooting range that will open before year's end will be two feathers in our cap that we can be particularly proud of. And finally, on Wednesday, May 31st, Congressman Darren LaHood, whose district now includes Harvard and Northwestern McHenry County under the 2022 legislative remap, will be opening a new district in Rockford. I will be attending along with County Board Member Pam Altoff and Communications and Project Manager Alicia Schuler. And that concludes my report for this evening. Do any members have comments tonight? Mr. Kaminsky.
Two quick things. One, last week we enjoyed the Employee Appreciation Week. In my district, a gentleman was gathering his money to pay the property tax. Before he headed out, the mailman came. He grabbed the letter, and it was from the treasurer, and he was about ready to go find his nitrous pills. He opened it up, and it was a correction, and he got real scared. He started reading, and it was a reduction in what he had to pay by $200. And there was a little note on there saying, we've reviewed and reanalyzed, and here's your corrected copy. He was astounded. He couldn't believe it. And I told him, the employees at McHenry County are second to none. They stick with it. They'll do the job no matter what it takes, as long as it takes. And for the staff of the treasurer, whoever it was that found that mistake, give them an attaboy, pat on the back, way to go. That is what we in McHenry County are doing to show the other counties that we're that shining county on the hill. And then from the 21st to the 27th is boating safety. McHenry County has one of its natural resources is a chain of lakes. It's a beautiful place, and it's good to go out and have a good time. But we want to practice safe boating. There's many places that we can go to get information on how to be a safer boater. One place is the Chain of Lakes State Park, where you have to get your Fox Waterway Management, where you get your sticker. There they have lots of information on boater safety. Another one is the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary. They'll come out to your dock and your boat and inspect it and certify it if it is seaworthy and give you a sticker. They'll take the time to show you the safety equipment that's required by law and make sure that it's functioning and that it works and how you know how to use it. They'll also give you recommendations that things that you should have on your boat that aren't mandated by law, such as a first aid. Out there you can get really, skinned and have a skin leak and you need to plug it, that would be a good thing to have on there. Another side note, as our Marine unit, second to none there, if you see them with their lights on and moving, power it down, pull to the right. It's the law, it's just like you're driving, let them go past. If you come up on the Marine unit and you see the lights, again, power down and go at a no wake. There may be a reason that they may need your assistance, such as if they needed a couple more fire extinguishers because they haven't invented a fire truck that can float yet. Or there may have been somebody that went overboard and you don't know it. Our Marine unit, they're not out there to generate revenue. They're out there for public safety and education. They'll teach you. That's another source to go to. So let's have a good boating season. Last year we had no fatalities. Let's have another season with no fatalities. Go out and enjoy it. If you want to go tubing, please don't do it on the river on Saturday and Sunday. Go out into the lakes and enjoy it. And then come back and reflect on one of the greatest natural resources we have in this county, and that's the chain of lakes. That's my PSA, and that's all I got.
Thank you. Dr. Sager?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. I too want to add my congratulations, thanks, and commendation to all of our staff who professionally serve this county and its constituents, and I think we all agree that they do an incredibly professional job, and we are most grateful for that. But I also want to say thanks to the coordinators of the folks for the picnic last Thursday. It was really well received, and I want to thank the chairman for arranging for the nice weather. That was really well done, so I appreciate that. And I also want to just say a quick note of thanks to both our county administrator, Peter Austin, and Chair Beulah, because I think that you sent out some very, very nice words to all of our employees, and you need to be thanked for that. So we're grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Ness.
Last Thursday, I left this meeting feeling very disappointed and confused. For the past 6 months, I have worked with many of my colleagues on this board. I have formed what I believe are important relationships. I believe that I have brought value to our collective work and that in some way I have earned the respect of the members that I worked with. I enjoy the collegiality of our working relationships. I believe that we are stronger when we work together in the work of sustaining and growing McHenry County. So my emotional response to the proclamation was confusing. 34 years ago, to my surprise, I found the person who would cause my heart to light. Imagine after 40 years of living in a life, in a relationship that was missing. The tenderness, the joy, and the love I found with my partner fills every part of my being. 34 years later, I wake every morning with gratitude and amazement that I get to live in such a relationship. The person who holds my heart is a woman. In some ways, I felt like the decision to deny my proclamation was a scathing rebuke of who we are in this world as LGBTQI+ people. Though what I finally discovered about Thursday, for me, it was the death of the 1,000th cut. That's hard to say. When I came out to my mother, she said this to me: "Why would you want to be something people hate?" I had no answer for her. In the LGBTQI+ community, we spend most of our lives hiding, looking good, looking proper, looking normal, being a part of the community, because to not do that can have significant and dire consequences for us. Living as a couple in those early days, we made sure we never touched each other in public. We never held hands. I never put a hand on her shoulder. We made sure there was ample distance between us, because what if? We made sure that the second bed always looked like somebody slept in it, in the event that the fire department came in the middle of the night and would discover who we were. That has a significant impact on people who live in my community. Over the years, because I'm a leader, I burned the hate mail left on my car, under my windshield wiper, in my mailbox, written on my sidewalk, sent to my workplace. I have been accused of being a groomer, a recruiter into the homosexual lifestyle. I have learned how to protect myself and those I love, and developed a thick enough skin to get up and walk around in the world every day. So the anger and the fear that I felt in the face of recent actions across our nation targeting LGBTQI members with draconian legislation, banning the word gay, the largest number of banned books are those written by trans, for trans, or LGBTQI people. My proclamation was a response to that growing cold indifference and loathing that people feel for the members in our community. I watched as families barred longtime companions from homes when a member died, not being allowed to attend funerals because they weren't married, they had no right to be there. I have been questioned about my morals, my values, and my fitness to be in leadership because of my chosen lifestyle. Because actually, as someone said, what could you expect from someone whose judgment was so impaired about the moral responsibility of living a godly life? So, you cannot understand the daily acts of microaggression that we tolerate every day. The dismissiveness, the erasure, the cruelty, and the violence. You know, there are times I chose the easy path. And then there are times when I took a stand and I risked the contempt of court and arrest. There were times I stood my ground. I did not expect that here in this body, so I was surprised. I tell you all this because I want you to know that I don't share my private life with people. But I think it is important. I think it is important that you hear from someone who lives in it every day. Someone asked me if this was a hill that I was ready to die on, and I tell you this, all of you. This is a hill I die on every day. Every day. So to not put my proclamation forward would have felt like a failure. I would have felt like I sold out the LGBTQI community because it made people uncomfortable. That's not my job to make you comfortable. Most of you haven't any hope of understanding the experience of LGBTQ people because you are not gay. Because many people have no interest in changing a world that they believe works for them. So I could see how my proclamation was perceived as divisive. So I never exposed my heart to anyone, least of all a room full of people I don't know. But for me, the stakes have never been higher. And I trust that at some point you will see that my authentic position on this is to bring peace to this community and to recognize the struggles of LGBT people. I like my fellow board members. And I enjoy working with all of them. And I enjoy working with the staff. This is a great group of people. And my heart just shattered, and I was surprised. And though I'm a lesbian woman in a very conservative community, I'm a human being with feelings and hopes and desires for a peaceful and just world where not only myself, but all my fellow human beings, no matter how they claim themselves, can prosper, feel safe, be valued and heard. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kearns.
Yes, hey, on Thursday, I forgot to wish all the mothers and to tell the sons and the daughters and the fathers and the grandfathers to tell their wives and sisters and mothers, happy Mother's Day, to have a nice Mother's Day. So I hope all of you enjoyed your Mother's Day. But I want to talk about something else, and that was, I wanted to just put a question out there, and I asked Peter and a couple others that what would we do? And so I wanted to give them a heads up that I was going to ask this question. And my question is in our society today, in this country, we have open borders right now, and we have the cities sending immigrants, New York City right now, sending it to upstate New York and everything else. And the cities are just being deluged. Their budgets are being bludgeoned and devastated over this because it's just we are not prepared for this. And so my question comes as a county board in McHenry County, and I'm not asking for the answers tonight. But what I'm asking is, what is our plan on McHenry County? And is it our emergency group that's going to handle this? Who's going to handle this? and how do we handle this, and who's going to fund this? And then today, as I see the budget in Illinois, less revenue coming in, giving the immigrants free health insurance, which is going to bust the budget. It's going over $1 billion in the state. So is the state going to help McHenry County when this comes? Is the state going to break their budget so that they can't help our nonprofits or any other organizations, that it turns more to the nonprofits, or who's going to do this? So I just wanted to open that dialogue, us open that dialogue. I don't have to solve that tonight, but in future meetings, we should start talking about that. And so I'm not asking for an answer now because it's just member comments, but I think somewhere along the line, we've got to think about this. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Wagner?
In response to Member Ness's openness and vulnerability, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being brave enough to tell your story. Thank you for being brave enough to make us uncomfortable, because we only grow when we're uncomfortable. And thank you for being a leader here in McHenry County.
Any further member comments? Seeing none, we'll move on to special recognition. I'll entertain a motion to approve a proclamation designating May 21st through 27th, 2023 as National Public Works Week, connecting the world through public works. Mr. Gottemoller makes the motion, Mr. Scala seconds, and Mr. Gottemoller will read the proclamation.
With the board's consent, I'd like to just read the resolution, so unless everyone actually wants to hear the whereases. And so the proclamation reads as follows. Therefore, be it proclaimed by this County Board of McHenry County, Illinois, that it hereby designates the week of May 21 through 27th, 2023 as National Public Works Week. And be it further proclaimed that all citizens of McHenry County are urged to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, and quality of life. And be it further proclaimed that the county clerk is hereby authorized to distribute a certified copy of this proclamation to the county administrator and the director of transportation, county engineer, dated at Woodstock, Illinois, the 16th day of May, 2023.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Against? Motion carries. Next, I'll entertain a motion to approve the proclamation declaring May 2023 Motorcycle Awareness Month. Mr. Scala, seconded by Mr. Smith, and Mr. Shorten will read the proclamation.
Whereas safety is the highest priority for the highways and streets of our county and state, and whereas the great state of Illinois is proud to be a national leader in motorcycle safety, education, and awareness, and whereas motorcycles are a primary, common, and economical means of transportation that reduces fuel consumption and road wear and contributes in a significant way to the relief of traffic and parking congestion. And whereas it is especially meaningful to the citizens of our county and state be aware of motorcycles on the roadways and recognize the importance of motorcycle safety. And whereas the members of ABATE of Illinois, a brotherhood aimed toward education, continually promote motorcycle safety, education, and awareness in high school driver's education programs, and to the general public in our county and state, presenting motorcycle awareness programs to over 120,000 participants in Illinois over the past 8 years. And whereas all motorcyclists should join ABATE of Illinois in actively promoting the safe operation of motorcycles, as well as promoting motorcycle safety, education, awareness, and respect to the citizens of our county and state. And whereas the motorcyclists of Illinois have contributed extensive volunteerism and money to national and community charitable organizations. And whereas during the month of May, all roadway users should unite in the safe sharing of roadways within the county of McHenry and throughout the great state of Illinois. Now, therefore, it be proclaimed by this county board of McHenry County, Illinois, that it hereby recognizes May 2023 as Motorcycle Awareness Month in McHenry County, dated Woodstock, Illinois, 16th of May, AD 2023.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Against? Motion carries. Next, I'll entertain a motion to approve a proclamation recognizing June 19, 2023 as National Juneteenth Day. Ms. Ness, seconded by Ms. Altoff, and Ms. Van Hoff will read the proclamation.
Thank you, Chairman. And since this is I guess you can hear me better if I do this, right? Since this is the first time that we are passing this proclamation, I would like to read the complete proclamation. And if we pass it in subsequent years, we can summarize it as did Member Guatemala did. I think it's important that we hear the complete document this time. Whereas President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863, freeing all enslaved Black Americans residing in Confederate states that were in rebellion against the Union, and whereas on June 19th, 1865, over 2 years after President Lincoln declared all enslaved persons free, Major General Gordon Granger and the Union Army troops marched to Galveston, Texas, to enforce the Emancipation Proclamation and free the last 150,000 enslaved Black Americans who had been held in bondage, deprived of their freedom and basic dignity. And whereas those freed from bondage rejoiced and celebrated their long overdue emancipation, their first Juneteenth celebration held on June 19, 1866. Juneteenth celebrations grew in popularity, spreading from Texas to other southern states and throughout the country. Today, Juneteenth is celebrated in other countries to recognize the end of slavery and to honor the achievements and contributions of Blacks around the world. And whereas Juneteenth became a federal holiday when President Joe Biden signed the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act in June 2021, all Americans are encouraged to share and feel the power of this day. Learn from our history, celebrate our progress, and recognize and engage in the work that lies ahead. And whereas Juneteenth offers an opportunity for all Americans to celebrate human freedom, reflect on the grievous and ongoing legacy of slavery, and rededicate ourselves to addressing the racism that continues to plague our society as we strive to deliver the full promise of America's own Declaration of Independence, that all are created equal and endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And whereas this Juneteenth, we are freshly reminded that the ideology of racism has not yet been defeated. Juneteenth is a reminder of how important it is to work together toward our shared goal to eliminate hatred, racism, and fear, and show that bigotry and hate have no home in the United States, in Illinois, or in McHenry County. And whereas Juneteenth is a time to reflect on both enslavement and freedom, it is a remembrance of centuries of slavery and subjugation, as well as a celebration of emancipation and promise of a brighter day to come. On Juneteenth, we remember our history and our extraordinary capacity to overcome our worst conditions and emerge as a stronger, freer, and more just nation. And whereas the emancipation of enslaved Black Americans was not the end of our nation's work to deliver its promise of equality for all, but merely the beginning. On Juneteenth, let us recommit our shared work of ensuring racial justice and equality for all Americans. On this day, we commemorate the centuries of struggle and progress led by abolitionists, educators, civil rights advocates, lawyers, activists, religious leaders, public officials, and everyday Americans who have brought our nation closer to fulfilling its promise. Now, therefore, it be proclaimed that we, the McHenry County Board, do hereby acknowledge and proclaim to all residents of McHenry County that June 19th, 2023 is duly recognized as Juneteenth Day of Observance, and all citizens are encouraged to acknowledge the history of slavery, to recognize how the impact of slavery still impacts all Americans today, and celebrate the emancipation of Black Americans, and work together to eradicate racism and inequality. And be it further proclaimed that the county clerk is hereby authorized to distribute a certified copy of this proclamation to the county administrator, the county board chairman, and the director of human resources, dated at Woodstock, Illinois, this 16th day of May, AD 2023. That was a mouthful.
All in favor say aye. Against? Motion carries. Next, I'll entertain a motion to approve a proclamation declaring June 2023 as LGBTQ plus Pride Month throughout McHenry County. Dr. Sager, seconded by Mr. Gottemoller. Mr. Reinert will read the proclamation. Ms. Meshes?
Thank you for the ability to make this a motion. I'd like to make a motion to amend our proclamation for Gay Pride Month, for Pride Month, to the one that we see on our desk tonight. If you would like, I could read it, the one I'd like to amend it to. Otherwise, I think we do all have it on our desks. So.
Ms. Campbell seconds. Any discussion? Ms. Altoff?
Might I suggest we not amend it, but we substitute it? I think that's what you want to do.
I agree, yes. I do want to substitute
Okay,
it.
great, thank you, sorry.
Okay. Any discussion?
Just for clarification, are you making a motion that we substitute the proclamation that Member Ness proposed?
Yes, I am. I'm motioning that we substitute the proclamation that was in our packet to the one that is now on our desk, which was written by Board Member Lunas.
Okay, just to clarify.
Seeing no discussion on the substitution, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Ms. Ness, would you like to read it?
Thank you. Do you want to read it?
Is that the one you?
What?
Is that yours?
Yeah, okay. Whereas individuals who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgendered, and queer, referred to in this proclamation as LGBTQ+, include individuals from every municipality in McHenry County and unincorporated McHenry County. And whereas the systemic inequality that LGBTQ individuals face in securing health care, employment, and housing systems in McHenry County, leading to a disparate impact on LGBTQ+ individuals. And whereas LGBTQ individuals in the United States and McHenry County serve and have served the United States Army, Coast Guard, Navy, Air Force, and Marines honorably and with distinction and bravery. And whereas LGBTQ+ individuals in the United States serve and have served in positions in the federal government and state and local governments, including as members of Congress, cabinet secretaries, governors, mayors, and city council members in McHenry County. And whereas throughout much of the history, same-sex relationships were criminalized in many states, and many LGBTQ+ individuals were forced to hide their identities while living in secrecy and fear. And whereas LGBTQ+ youth in McHenry County are at increased risk of suicide, homelessness, becoming victims of bullying, violence, and human trafficking, and developing mental health illnesses, including anxiety and depression. And whereas LGBTQ individuals in McHenry County have achieved significant milestones, ensuring that future generations of LGBTQ+ individuals in McHenry County will enjoy a more equal and just society. And whereas, despite being marginalized throughout the history of the United States, LGBTQ+ individuals in the United States and McHenry County continue to celebrate their identities, assuring that Pride events are a celebration of visibility in spite of marginalization. The LGBTQ+ community will continue to observe this significant cultural practice. And whereas LGBTQ+ individuals in McHenry County remain determined to pursue full equality, respect, and inclusion for all individuals, regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity, now let it be proclaimed that the McHenry County Board supports the rights, freedoms, and equal treatment of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer, referred to in this resolution as LGBTQ+ individuals in McHenry County, while acknowledging that LGBTQ rights are human rights to be protected by the laws of the United States and the policies and practices in McHenry County. The McHenry County Board therefore proclaims June 2023 as LGBTQ Pride Month in order to provide a lasting opportunity for all individuals in McHenry County to explore the impact of discrimination and inequality the members of the LGBTQ+ community continue to endure. And thank you to my colleagues.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Against? Motion carries. Moving on to zoning petitions. Do any members have an item they'd like to remove from the zoning consent agenda? Mr. Hendricks?
I just will need to recuse myself off 10A1. So I don't know if we make a note of that in the vote itself.
You can do that.
Okay.
Ms. Meshes?
Actually, I'll pull 10A1.
Any others? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the zoning consent agenda, less item 10A1. Mr. Smith, seconded by Mr. Scala. Clerk, could you open the voting, please? Voting is open. Have all voted who wish?
Mr. Kunkel? Mr. Kunkel, have you hit submit? There we go.
Motion carries. Ms. Meshes makes the motion for 10A1. Mr. Gottemoller seconds.
So I just wanted to acknowledge whoever put this in our mailboxes that we did get this sheet asking us some questions for us to consider for 10A1. I wanted to know if planning and development, if Adam, have you seen this sheet? I assumed yes. Should I bring it to you?
Sorry, Adam.
It's not my current question.
Okay.
Some of them are, yeah.
Mr. Gottemoller, do you have a comment?
Okay.
Well, she's not finished,
I'm not finished now. So I didn't want to give Adam a chance to see it. The ones I just wanted to make sure that could be addressed, because I do intend on voting for the zoning, is that the neighbors know that there's indeed a process where they can, that the health department and plan development, there is code enforcement. So I just wanted to know there's a process for reaching out so that people's fears can be known that we are doing, not me, you and the health department are doing your jobs.
Sure. Yes, so there's with conditional uses, there's gonna be two sets of standards that are gonna be have to adhere to. One will be the general codes, so whether it's building code, stormwater, unified development ordinance, the health code. In addition, there's conditions that are gonna be applied that are recommended for this conditional use. That would be the second set that would be at play for the duration of the conditional use. So, yes, so there will be code enforcement.
Right.
As applicable.
Thank you, that's all.
Yep.
Mr. Gottemoller.
Yeah, the concerns I have when I receive things in my mailbox that are unsigned by anybody or any purpose, I understand their concerns, but I also understand that they had the opportunity to be at the zoning board, that the zoning board did vote to approve this, that it's been through the committee of the whole, and it's been through the planning and environment and development in terms of just information purposes at P&D, and I would ask that we go forward with this.
Thank you. Seeing no further questions, clerk, could you open the voting, please? Voting is open. Have all voted who wish? Motion carries. Next, we'll move on to public comment. Dennis and Heather Schultz, and just anyone signing up for public comment has 3 minutes which to make their comments at the microphone here, sir. At which time pardon me?
My neighbors want to speak also. My two neighbors?
Okay, if they signed up, they'll be allowed to speak. But you have 3 minutes to speak, at which time the light in front of me will come on, and I would ask you to summarize your comments if you have not completed them.
Well, that letter that was left for you, unfortunately, was left from us. We didn't know how to address this, in what ways. Some of my concerns is that in that vote, in the last meeting, the zoning meeting, is that nobody really cared about anything what the neighbors have to say about this. We bought these properties knowing that there wasn't going to be a business put in there, that everything was zoned agriculture. And some of these people that have lived there for the last 20, 30 years. So it is disappointing that you guys will just push something through like this without having the neighbors or people here that are concerned about it. I get it, everybody's property is everybody's, what they do with it. But it is concerning when you have just a whole bunch of houses and animals and livestock and put a company right in the middle of it. It's going to disturb everything, including everything around us. So, I mean, we are directly bordering it, and I know, like, there's a lot of wetlands there, so I really do hope that there is code enforcement and it is monitored, because that is something that, I know there is like a super site in Union already that is contaminated, that is not very far away, so we don't need any more contamination.
What we're asking for is a contamination tank because we came in the first meeting unaware.
The zoning meeting.
The first zoning, unaware, and it got approved. But now we're here because this guy he's asking for an 8-foot fence. He's gonna push that fence all the way down towards the road. If he thinks he's gonna get robbed, why don't he just put a gate down by the road? Stop all traffic from coming up that driveway. And at the same time, he's gonna need a contamination tank. I've been in septic, I've been in storm sewers, I've been in everything. So I know what I'm talking about. He's gonna need a tank. He's gotta do all his equipment wash down. Where's the water gonna go? It's gotta go into the contamination tank. Now, Welch Brothers supplies all that. Same as the oil contamination tank. He's gotta put it in there. So I'm sure, like Adam says, there's gonna be issues on that. But what I'm saying is he cannot bring that property up 1 inch in the back. If he does, it's gonna flood my property. Now, he knows that. He knew it before he bought the property. He also knew, he took the boring machine through my property without me knowing, which that gave him 1 strike against me. Whereas where he's gonna park his equipment, that's the only place where he could have a septic field. So we know now that he will not put a house there. So when his business gets bigger, he's just gonna push towards the road. And that 8-foot fence is
If you
gonna
could
look like a
summarize your comments,
concentration camp.
please.
Pardon me?
Could you summarize your comments, please, or public comments are limited to 3 minutes?
Go ahead, summarize it. I'm just saying, if it was you with your $500,000, $600,000 house, would you want this next to you? Is my taxes gonna go up or are they gonna go down?
We just wish that the neighbors and everybody surrounding this property were more
informed
and had more time. Because when that zoning sign went up, I think it was only like a matter of a week.
I walked, well, whatever it was, I walked in blind.
Could you please complete your comments, please?
I walked in there blind.
We just hope that it is monitored and, like our house, we have 2 septic tanks that run at all
Also,
times, pumping water out, so I just really want it very,
Like
very
his barn,
monitored.
there's
Okay,
no.
we're going to need to move on to the next speaker,
Okay,
but we
fine.
appreciate your
His barn,
comments. Thank you.
Sent letters to all the people. His barn has no entryway. It's all a big concern here. My concern is my taxes going up, property value going down.
Sebastian Morales.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everyone. So I'd like to firstly thank you all for giving us the opportunity to speak here, and also thank you for all the passion that you all bring tonight. It really shows through all the comments that are made, the great care that you all have for this community and the residents throughout our county. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce ourselves right now. We are both here coming from the Youth and Family Center of McHenry County, a McHenry County Mental Health Board funded agency. I am Sebastian Morales, the licensed social worker from the Youth and Family Center of McHenry County.
And my name is Miriam Figueroa. I'm one of the bicultural service navigators here at the center. And so, yeah, we're here to talk about a bit about what we do, but in a way also to, so that you know what's going on with the funding that you guys also provide. So I work as a bicultural service navigator. What is that? That's basically helping people, the McHenry County residents, get connected to different types of resources in the county while also addressing different barriers such as language or transportation, or, you know, supporting them in being able to be as successful as they can and using all the wonderful resources that exist. And so as we do this through bilingual education, referrals, navigation, and case management. And between both of the bicultural service navigators at our center, we serve an average of 42 clients a month, which is a 21% increase from last year. And so with the growing efforts that we have in reaching out to the long overlooked community of Harvard, we predict that this number is just going to continue to increase. As we see it, we're not just seeing more clients, but we're seeing an increased amount of crises situations, that is in housing, in finance, and in mental health. And so, as I'm sure you guys all hear from different type of people all through our county, there's different types of crises going on. And so the Bicultural Service Navigation Program does get funded by the Mental Health Board. And so I know it's going to be a topic that ends up coming up soon, but we're also here to encourage you guys to increase funding for our Mental Health Board. And with all of that, their capacity to increase support for the mental health agencies. And so, yeah, I'm going to let this guy talk.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for that. So I am not funded through the Mental Health Board. I'm funded through a United Way collaborative Advanced McHenry County grant. This was a really cool opportunity for our agency as it provided us the opportunity to provide free pro bono therapy services to residents of McHenry County. I currently see about 72 clients a week throughout the county, from one high school group in Harvard, a high school group in McHenry. I do a group in individual therapy. So I'm in 2 middle schools. I get all the elementary schools in McHenry, the high school in McHenry, both of them in McHenry, and then Harvard High School. And we are just seeing the need grow and grow and grow. So one thing that we really work at doing at our agency is meeting our clients where they're at. That can be by providing some non-traditional therapy services, and also by really understanding that it goes beyond any cultural barriers that we might encounter, but it's truly understanding that we're going to meet them where they're at and support them through all the needs that they come about. Thank you.
Thank you. Lupe Ortiz.
Hello, my name is Lupe Ortiz, and I have the privilege of serving our community as the Executive Director to Youth and Family Center of McHenry County, but also serve as a board member to our county's Board of Health. And I'm here tonight to join my team and echo the amazing work that they do at Youth and Family Center, serving more than 500 youth and families and our county residents annually through after-school and summer prevention and intervention services, and adult education, resource connection, navigation, and case management, as Miriam had mentioned. Our services not only empowers our county residents by building resilience and increasing community connection, but also empowers our county by increasing access and closing service gaps. As a mental health board funded agency, I would like to thank our county board members that joined us last Thursday at the mental health board town hall, and many community service providers and constituents as we discussed the mental health, substance abuse, and developmental disability services, supports, gaps, and obstacles. I think the board members that were there with us in very difficult conversations and discussions, it shows that you guys are here with us through our struggles. But I also want to thank the board as a whole for their support to the Mental Health Board and to all of our Mental Health Board funded agencies, including Youth and Family Center. We ask that the board continue this support as we look at ways to respond to the increasing needs of our community that we're seeing in mental health, substance abuse, and developmental disabilities. So thank you for all the support and your leadership. You as people are watching you, and we appreciate you, and we see the hard work that you're doing. Thank you, and keep it up.
Robert Kubacha.
Hi, good evening. I am one of the neighbors that you guys approved this landscaping company being put in. A few years ago, they tried to do a dog boarding kennel almost in the same spot where this is going. And it was determined that 176 couldn't handle the traffic pressure. Last year, there was 4 fatalities on 176. What's this going to cause? I just don't see how this could get approved, getting put right in the middle of people's houses. It doesn't make any sense to me. I guess that's my only concern, you know. The noise, you know, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense in how this got approved. You know, none of it was zoned for this. It's not zoned for a business. Why would we put one there? Doesn't make any sense. That's all I got to say. Thanks.
We have no new unfinished business today. We'll move on to appointments. I'll entertain a motion to approve the recommendations for appointment to the Sheriff's Merit Commission, the Public Transportation Advisory Committee, and the Board of Health as of May 16, 2023. Mr. Scala makes the motion. Ms. Von Bergen seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, could you open the voting, please? Voting is open. Have all voted who wish? Motion carries. Moving on to item number 15, do any standing committee chairs or liaisons have reports for us tonight? Mr. Gottemoller.
It's not really a report. It is a precursor to 16B26. I will be asking to take that back to Administrative Services Committee.
Thank you. Mr. Kearns.
Yes, for the Stormwater Commission, watch your agendas. We should have a meeting this month. We're hoping to have one. So watch your agendas that comes out. Hopefully it's not canceled, that we get a quorum. Also, as transportation, any of you who still, I think you could still get in on the trip down on Metra if you want to go. Please sign up for that. It's worth the trip to see how an operation is run, the efficiency that they do. It is well worth the trip for you to go. It's a great learning experience, and it affects us out here in this county.
Ms. Campbell?
Just a couple announcements. Regional Planning Commission will be meeting again on Thursday, May 25th at 6 p.m. Here at the Administration Building. Not much more to report on that other than that. So if you have any thoughts about the plan as it's moving forward, feel free to give me a call or reach out or, attend if you want to participate in the conversation. I do know that the Emergency Management Agency will be holding public hearings on their natural hazard mitigation plan. I am not aware of the date. I apologize for that. I don't see anything in my mailbox, and we have not met. So, but I can get that out to everybody when that occurs. And I think that's it.
Thank you. Ms. Wegner?
Thank you. I'm not the liaison to the Mental Health Board, but I do want to reiterate what our public comment said. So last week, there was a Mental Health Board town hall, and it was outstanding. So thank you for those who went. They divided into 3 groups: mental health, intellectual and development disabilities, and substance abuse, and we could go in between the 3. And not only were there providers there, but there were individuals who had stories that would make you cry. So if we're talking about mental health, you need to hear these stories. And it was amazing. And they talked about what the county provides and the gaps that we do not have. So I just wanted to say that because we don't have a liaison on the board. This afternoon, I attended the Project Search graduation. What another emotional event. This was 7 individuals with development disabilities who were in a program where they had 3 10-week internships, and all at Northwestern. And these, I can't say kids because they're not kids. They were so proud of themselves. They did so many, they cleaned, they provided food to the hospital patrons. They learned skills to work and provide for themselves. So if you ever get a chance, I would say you need to go next year. And Workforce Network, I bring this up because this was part of Workforce Network. They combined with the Parents Alliance and Northwestern Medicine for this project. And Workforce Network has a meeting tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. if anybody's interested. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Ness?
I attended the Valley High Board meeting yesterday. McHenry County Housing Authority Board meeting. They have 300 applicants for 22 vouchers. Their wait list is closed now. They won't be accepting any more individuals on that. They are running out of LIHEAP money. They're going to run out of funds before the end of the year. They do a great job with what they have, but things are thin. There's more demand for services than they have resources for. I also talked to them about the workforce housing group, and they're very excited about that. So Kim will join us when we need her as a subject matter expert on housing. So that's it.
Thank you. Ms. Altoff?
Senior Services grant people that are on the board, I misspoke. The next meeting is June 2nd. Mr. Hendricks, you were correct. I was wrong. So 2 o'clock, we're going to have a meeting on June 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to the routine consent agenda. Do any members have items they'd like removed from the routine consent agenda? Mr. Gottemeiler?
16B26.
Mr. Smith?
16B24.
Seeing no others, I will entertain a motion to approve the routine consent agenda, less items 16B24 and 16B26. Mr. Sager makes the motion. Ms. Greeno seconds. Clerk, could you open the voting? Voting is open. Have all voted who wish? Motion carries. First item removed, Mr. Smith, 16B24.
Yeah, thank you. And I missed this at the cow, but in the first, be it further resolved, it talks about the agreement shall be for 1 year. And because this agreement expired in November of 2022, it's actually going to be for the remainder of the 2023 fiscal year. So I'd make an amendment to this resolution, changing the first, be it further resolved, to read the agreement shall be for the remainder of the fiscal 2023 year instead of the 1 year that's in there currently.
Make a motion with that amendment.
Okay. You're the second? You're making that motion?
Yes.
You're seconding? Mike Scala is seconding?
Well, there wasn't a motion on the table to begin with, so I'm
Oh,
making a motion.
I thought he was making that motion, but
I was. I didn't say motion. I didn't say motion, Mike, but
okay, so Mr. Smith makes the motion to amend. Mr. Scala seconds. Any discussion on the amendment?
That's my point. You can't, there was an original motion on the table, so I was making a motion to approve the resolution with that amendment. Because there wasn't originally a motion to begin with, so you can't amend anything, so.
You're correct.
So that's why I was making, that's what I was trying to help you there.
thank you.
So now it's before the board floor.
Discussion.
I made a motion, Larry seconded, so we're all good.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And then the original amended item 16B24. Open the voting, clerk. Right?
Is that Gala and Smith are the mover and seconder?
Yeah.
For the underline? Yeah.
Wait a minute, I need some clarification.
So, Smith
We're
is Gala.
voting on it with the amendment that Larry made.
Okay.
Scala is sure. Are we ready? Ready?
Yep. Voting's open. Have all voted who wish? Motion carries. Next item, I'll entertain a motion to approve item 16B26. Mr. Gottemeiler.
I would make a motion to send it back to Administrative Services Committee.
Mr. Kunkel seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. We'll move on to ordinances for action. I'll entertain a motion to approve item 17B. Mr. Gottemeiler, seconded by Mr. Sager. Well, we could take, can we take them both at once, or you gotta take them individually? Okay, so this will be for 17B1. Mr. Gottemoller made the motion, Mr. Sager seconded. Any discussion? Mr. Scala.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to have 17B1 put on 30-day review.
Is there a second? I'll second that. Mr. Reinert seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against?
Roll call, please.
Yeah, roll call, please. Voting is open.
Wait, we're voting to,
Motion to move to review.
No, it's a yes. It's okay.
We're not, point of clarification. We should not be voting on the original motion yet, correct?
We're not. This is the motion to put this on 30-day review.
Correct.
but it says 17B1 ordinance adopting establishing
It doesn't say 100? 17B. Seeing that? Oh, do you not see this part? It's small. Oh, sorry.
Shows on the screen to put on 30-day review. I don't have voting privilege here.
Hendricks and Meshes.
Hendricks and Meshes.
We got those. Now we're good.
Motion carries. So we will put that on 30-day review. I'll entertain a motion to approve 17B2. Mr. Smith, seconded by Mr. Gottemoller. Mr. Scala.
I'll make a motion to put item 17B2 on 30-day review.
Is there a second? Mr. Kaminsky? Discussion? Mr. Kearns?
Okay, now I'll speak up. I should have spoke up on the first one. I believe by changing these to 30-day review, if there happens to be an accident in the next 30 days, it opens us up to liability because we changed our procedure midstream. And that we should handle this in our rules committee later on for future. So I'd also ask someone who approved the 17B1 also to move to reconsider that one for that very reason. I should have spoke up the first time. I apologize. That's my opinion. That would opens us up for liability if there's an accident.
Ms. Meshes?
I should have taken my light off because I was just looking for some reasoning behind why we'd want to do a review or not do a review. I think Member Kearns made a good point.
Mr. Scala?
I don't feel that opens us up for any liability. I 100% agree with you that I would ask that the board rules be looked at in committee to further clarify the situation. And I personally feel that the board rules as currently written need better clarification for our board purposes. And I think anytime board members question how things are written and interpret them differently, then obviously I believe that things need to be written better and more clear. So I 100% agree with that, Mr. Kearns. I just also feel that this should be on 30-day review. Again, the reason why we put things on 30-day review is the chance for the public to weigh in on the situation, and the only time we waive 30-day review is when it is of an emergency nature by which we have to pass ordinances immediately. And I just don't feel that reducing speeds by 5 miles an hour is an emergency situation.
Ms. Wegner?
I would just like the state's attorney opinion on about Mr. Kern's statement, if it does leave us open to legal problems.
my opinion would be, it would be minuscule. And I've not, yeah, it'd be minuscule. If we're talking about reducing the speed, and also understand that there could be challenges if you don't do this right. There could be challenges that, hey, you've reduced the speed limit, somebody gets a speeding ticket, and now their defense is that you didn't follow the procedure. So I would not, people file suits for all kinds of reasons all the time, and we defend them, and you just can't head those off sometimes. So I would not worry about the liability. That would not be part of my consideration for voting.
Ms. Campbell?
I guess I was just going to say, I mean, I'm looking at the board rules and kind of, one of the things it says is that the following items are exempt from the 30-day review, and it does say transportation ordinances considered under the consent agenda, and where the conflict comes in, or the discrepancy, or whatever you want to call it, is that we never put transportation ordinances under a consent agenda. But at some point, somebody thought that transportation ordinances would be exempt from this 30-day review. So yes, I agree we need to change the board rules, but it clearly what it's allowing for the exemption of transportation ordinance from the 30-day review, assuming they were under a consent agenda. So, that's the point.
Mr. Sager?
Yes, I agree. Thank you with colleague Campbell. I mean, the fact of the matter is that perhaps we should be reviewing the board rules, but right now the board rules state that we have an exemption in this situation. So I think we need to follow that and move forward as the board rules stand right now, and go ahead and approve these two, and then we can look at and work toward changing the board rules in the future. Thank you.
Mr. Hendricks?
I'd just like to, I don't know what committee it would be, Administrative Services Committee, maybe?
Transportation?
No, for the board rules.
Oh, Admin Services.
I would just say, with, I believe, Mr. Gadamaller's the chair for that committee, I'd just like it on the next agenda for Administrative Services. And I do think, I don't think necessarily, the way I read the rules anyway, allows for it without a separate vote, allowing it to waive that 30-day review period.
Mr. Kearns? You changed your mind?
My last thought is, after Mr. Seiger's comment, is we can't do both of them because we already approved one. So someone would have to move to reconsider item 1. But we can vote on 17B2 to put on 30-day review. But we have to, someone who was in the affirmative for that motion for 17B1 would have to move to reconsider. But, so, I guess at this, let's call a question for 17B2 with the amendment, or the amendment for it.
Call the question?
Yes.
Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. Against? Okay, motion carries.
What motion carries? To call the question?
To call the question.
And that's the question of the 30-day.
Correct.
Yes, so now you determined it passed.
Right, so we're going to vote on the amendment to put on 30-day review. All in favor say aye.
Wait, B2 of 30 days or B1?
B2. We're on B2 right now.
We already approved it for 17B1.
B1 has already been approved to put on 30-day review. We're on B2. The vote right now is going to be to put that on 30-day review as well. All in favor say aye. Aye. Against? No. Nay. Call the roll, please, clerk. Voting is open.
So a yes vote is to put on 30 day, and no vote is to just change it.
Okay, motion does not carry, so we will vote on 17B2 to approve. B2. You'll have an opportunity to do so after. Let's finish one thing at a time here. Ms. Wegner?
Nope. I gotta wait.
Nothing? Okay, we're voting on 17B2. Clerk, could you open the voting, please? Voting is open. Have all voted who wish? Too late, already passed. Ms. Beshes, did you have something to add to the conversation?
Oh, I'm making a motion to reconsider the 30-day review for 17B1.
Do we have a second? Ms. Wegner seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none.
Could I just have to opine?
Mr. Reinert?
In transportation, the reason B2 was separated was, I'm on transportation also, and this, for me, I knew this, this proposed speed change, and it was a no-brainer. There's subdivisions, there's a Walgreens, there's a cleaner, there's 150 homes on both sides that have subdivisions, and, you know, the traffic going into this light, and also the township road highway departments there. The speed limit going to this intersection with all of these cross corners, it just made it dangerous, and everybody that lives and does business there knows it. So this one was just a no-brainer. So everybody in transportation voted to take this out. The other ones, Mr. Scala, I didn't know about these roads and these intersections. I had no knowledge, so I really couldn't opine on it. So that's why we agreed to, myself anyway, agreed to the 30-day review on that one. So I kind of agree with Mr. Scala on this 30-day only for, because we were just naive on the road itself. B2, there was no doubt. So that was my take on the transportation meeting.
Okay, any further comment? Seeing none? All, this is a motion to reconsider putting on 30-day review.
To put this on a 30-day review now?
Yes. No, it's to reconsider. The first one, 17B1. It's a redo on the motion to put on 30-day review on 17B1. If it fails, it'll be put on review. If it passes, okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Against? Nay. Opinion of the chairs, it did not pass. There's no. So it stands as is, right? It'll be a 30-day review. A roll call.
So this is to take it back and take the 30-day review off. This is to talk about a revote. Do you want us to do a revote? Yes. Then you would say yes.
Are we ready?
Yes. Voting is open. Have all voted who wish? Motion carried. So.
Vote on the original.
Okay.
Guatemala, seconded by Saga.
Okay, so we're going to vote on the original. Guatemala made the motion. Sager seconded. Is there any discussion? Ms.
So
Campbell?
for
Ms. Campbell?
clarification, this is to pass this change.
Pass this right now.
Without the
17B1.
Without the 30-day review. So that's where we're at.
Then I'm I'm gonna save us all by not making another motion.
Thank you.
Ms. Ness?
Does this mean then that the public will not be able to have input?
Correct.
Oh, so the public
It'll
doesn't,
pass tonight.
Which is what happened on B2.
oh, okay.
That's my problem with it. It's also following board rules.
Is that all, Ms. Ness?
Yes, yes.
Seeing no further comment, clerk, could you open the voting, please?
Voting's open.
Voting is open. Have all voted who wish? Motion carries. No reports and presentations. Pete, you got a report tonight?
Member Kearns did ask about, what do we know about the migration of folks up to the city? We don't know a lot. There was a virtual meeting today. David Christensen was able to participate, and Sheriff Titleman. We did learn that there are about 3,400 migrants currently housed in the city, with another 500 in processing right now. We don't have much coordination from the state. This seems to be the city of Chicago is the chief coordinator right now. David is working closely with his peers in Lake and DePage and Kane, and they're promising amongst each other to share information when they get it and help each other as they can when they need it. But that is really all we know right now. And I'm glad to see that they're efforting to stay in communication with each other. Speaking of David Christensen, he did hire a new deputy director for emergency management, replacing Bob Ellsworth, who retired earlier. End of this month, retiring. Yeah, end of the month. Anyways, the new deputy director, excuse me, is a female, and she's coming from Portland, Oregon. She was director of the emergency management agency for Portland community colleges, and Scott was involved in the interview, and they're all really excited to get her and introduce her to you guys. She's a native of the Midwest, but been out in the West Coast for several years, but looking forward to welcoming her here. Alicia has updated your strategic plan report card, including some of your new items that have been out of there. We're tracking some of those new changes already, so please take a look at that. You can expect an email from Kathy Bow, probably tomorrow, knowing Kathy, but we're going to kind of put out a quick survey because the Farm Bureau would like to invite county board members on kind of a farm tour in July. We're gonna offer several dates towards the latter half of July, and we're gonna think in terms of a late afternoon of a tour. We're just gonna visit a few sites and maybe have a little food. But so, Kathy, watch for that email from Kathy, and please respond to her promptly so we don't have to chase you down and get your response there. Last thing I know, I'm leaving the country tomorrow for 12 days, and I'm going to be 8 time zones ahead of you. I will have my computer and I will have my phone, but I'm not going to have really prompt response if there are emails or such. Scott Hartman will be your acting county administrator for the next 12 days, and I will be back on Memorial Day. So, thank you and good luck.
Thanks, Pete. Terry?
I don't know if it's appropriate to make a comment, but is there any irony in the fact that we can't house illegal immigrant felons because of the governor's proclamation, but we could have illegals be foisted on us in this situation that are just overrunning our national boundary? It just seems incredibly ironic, and that our county should look at that perspective very seriously.
Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Scala makes the motion, Ms. Campbell seconds. All in favor say aye. Aye. Against? Have a good night.